Alrighty, folks, we are finally back after taking a short break for Christmas festivities and other festivities for good measure. The challenge series returns for episode 60, and we're about to cross the quarter way mark of this season. We have quite a mixed bag of races coming up, with mostly Japan. As far as race locations. And obviously every week's a mixed bag. That's kind of the point, Raker. I swear every week these intros get harder to do. So to spare myself the awkwardness of these intros, let's just go into the first round. For the first race of the episode, we begin with what is more or less just pretty much a staple of the challenge series by this point. The good old Brands Hatch 640 class race. As we already have the onboard driver Yasuba Takane going down the inside, making it pretty wide of the hairpin and nearly losing control of their car. Their background in amateur drifting, probably the only reason they're not face first in a wall right now. Gets many overtakes done on the back straightaway, heading towards, well, I don't even know what turn number this is, like, I think 5 or 6. Sneaks on the outside of Thomas O'Reilly, isn't really given much of a break, but doesn't care. Gets into the lead, wow, we're a little ahead of ourselves, but gets into 14th anyway. More sliding from the S15. But still converts even that slide into an overtake on Kaiser. Almost into the top 10 after a singular lap. Let's try the outside of Dakota Kingsley. It is completely headed off by Vincent Houston. The starting grid was a bit funny today, as it decided to have the whole of the top 8 on the starting grid being Nissan, I think. No, it's top 7. And the only driver in a Nissan that wasn't in the top 7 is Takane in her S15, who started in dead last. So, it's a bit of a twist sense of humor from the starting grid there, to say the least. I mean, now she does find herself in the top 8 with all the other Nissans. This is just stupid to me. Already into 6th, ahead of Mishima. Looking for a pass on her fellow S15 driver, and she's going to do some more sliding, but make the pass stick. You about got it there, Takane. I know you're an amateur drifter, but you really don't have to go to all of that trouble. Jeez. Overtakes Kaminaga, overtakes Kuro, who thinks about returning the favor, but can't find room. Kaminaga had a half-hearted attempt to descend, but it just kind of got cancelled there. Down the inside for the lead, not far into lap 3, and Takane is the leader, the dominant Nissan here. And now it is time for her to drive away, seems. Kuro continues to be under threat from Kaminaga and her R32. Meanwhile, Mishima is embarrassing the Nissan crew, already falling out of not only the top 8, but the top 10 almost. As Sebastian Sham and Dakota Kingsley make their way into the Nissan block party here at Brands Hatch. Look at all those chickens. As the leader takes the white flag here at Brands Hatch. As a driver, we haven't seen a whole lot of in this. Saves it. That was frankly terrifying. What did the Kane see in that? Chuiger on the gas, and then just mashes down the gears to try and, I guess, stabilize the car. I think that might have been the idea. Yeah, I guess she thought that the second she upshifted, she'd have the traction to floor the gas all the way. Makes a 360 to save probably terminal damage. And even stay in the lead for good measure. So now I just recommend not doing that again. And you'll be fine. I can't imagine doing that the first time was really on her to-do list, but you know, it bears mentioning. Wrecking the car is not conducive to winning races. Dakota Kingsley decides he wants to be a Nissan Titan today, but he is obstructed by a 2-wide battle for P5 ahead. Trevor Graham wants to make an overtake on the Lady of Narashi. Technically speaking, Trevor tried to pass us off as the Pontiac Grand Prix, but the badge back here still says Sylvia, so he's a Nissan driver through and through. No more or less than Kaminaga or Takane is. And as, you know, as mentioned, Takane not only does the 360 no-hope, basically, and will grab the victory at Brands Hatch to open up episode 60. Hanamura, starting second, will finish second, and Kuro will barely remain ahead of the impending R32. Dakota Kingsley will be the leader amongst non-Nissans, finishing 7th. Which is quite an odd sentence to say. Yeah, I mean, pretty much minus the scare, and a couple of, I think, 4 cars here got damage. One of whom is Sham, who was actually making their way through the field pretty well in front of Kingsley, and I think he may, I don't know what happened, but my guess is he probably got in Dakota's way. And Beetle versus F-150, I'll let you guess who wins that one. And the second race of this episode is Green 600 class racing at Tokyo South clockwise. So, Toyota... What? Tokyo South, but shorter. And this race we are on board with James Altenberg, who drives this track like he knows it so well. Like he used to live here. But he doesn't. He claims he lives in Tacoma, Washington. So I'm puzzled. But at any rate, I mean, I guess it's not like an American can't go to Japan, i.e. Thrasher and myself on multiple occasions in and out of the Challenge Series. He's making his way up the field quickly, already looking at P12 ahead of Minako Kochiya. And probably going to get more as the as we proceed down this backstretch. There goes Francisco catching up to another 8-6 and sweeping around the outside of it, switching back and getting ahead of my dad as well. Some bold moves from Altenberg here. Holy shit! He made that work. He didn't hit anybody. He didn't crash. But talk about a wild ride for James Altenberg just there. He just double curb hopped at the death chicane and stuck it and got overtakes done from it, getting ahead of Scott Weber and Ibarazaki. Almost getting blocked off by Schwartz, so he's going to make up potentially 4 places off of that. And into turn 1 for only the second time, and he's running in 4th position. Certainly in no small part due to his aggression through here, as he aggressively takes 3rd away from Kujikawa. Takes a unique line to get ahead of Dexter Rollins. And then he gets alongside me, and, well, he got a better corner exit. So, in just over a lap, James Altenberg is the new race leader. At this point, considering what I just saw from him, my main goal was try and just stay where I am now. I just secure P2, because obviously beating that guy, I don't think that's going to happen per se. He's not exactly gone, but he's not close either. I've got another 8-6 to worry about. I got Dexter Rollins, who's just there. He thinks he's like the other 8-6, huh? Yeah, you don't have the facilities for that big 8-6. Big Toyota man. Okay, now he's gone. Now there's no coming back from that. He is out of here. It's just crazy the way he is just wheeling that 8-6. He's making it look more like a Celica right now, the way he's attacking these corners. Dexter once again tries to come at me. Excuse me, context. Once again tries to go after me into the hairpin. He still can't find a way around. This 8-6 is obviously better on the straightaways, but well, combined with me blocking him, I guess, he doesn't have much of a chance in a corner. As the stability on the S14 is just a little better. But obviously, none of us had a chance for Altenberg. I had a chance against Altenberg, I should say, today. Through the death chicane, doesn't do too much curb hopping. Gets a little sideways though. I maintain P2, so the aforementioned goal of mine was completed. But James Altenberg is going to take a statement win at Tokyo South. He'll have yet another 8-6 join him on the podium. And Scott Weber is going to steal P4 right at the stripe from Sayori. Altenberg, myself, Rollins is the podium. And again, it's just more business as usual. I don't even think there was much damage in this race. I think these cars that were in the back here pretty much started there. So, with that in the books, on to round 3. The random grid generator seems to have a cruel sense of irony today. As we get underway here at 720 category racing at Autopolis, as Vert Wheeler is wildly out of control up ahead. And we are on board with Akira Taniguchi in his 2019 Supra. The reason why I'm pointing out the irony is that his brother Hikari is on pole. And no, Michiko's nowhere in the middle. If you were wondering that, she's not in this race to my recollection. No, she couldn't be. That's the wrong category, dumbass. But what is in this category is this race, I think this episode's only debuting competitor. No, that's a lie. This race's only debuting competitor, who nearly wrecked his own car just a handful of corners into the start of his career. Shiro Sasaki, making his debut in a Lexus RCF with a very stand-out paint job, which looks like it belongs in a horror film, no more than it does on a racetrack. And apparently Thrasher knows this guy because he's only been here but for a couple of hours, and he's already on Black Stallion Motorsports before he's even started his first race. And also the starting grid decided, well, just put all of the RCFs near each other. That's not going to look weird at all. It's amazing that the same car can be designed in 3 completely different ways. Where is our focus driver? P13, just getting ahead of Mosen out of the last turns. Oh, I'm sure Akira laughed a little when he saw that, as Kazuya Takahata has to pit in, as do 2 other drivers, Rip Thompson and Drac Davies. What is going on up here? There's some fuckery afoot heading in turn 1, and I think it was Ivan. Huh? Okay, or not. That was perfectly normal. Why did it seem like there was a bunch of tire smoke being thrown around? I mean, it wasn't perfectly normal. He missed his braking point, but it wasn't like there was a crazy wreck. What it would have looked like from a glance there when I was cycling back up here. Taniguchi will shoot to the outside of Sodakov, and the more balanced handling package will take the spot out of corner exit. So into P8 for the Supra. I also introduced this guy like, I don't know who he is, I know who he is, but just like, not for the reasons that you probably expect me to know who he is. Doesn't really have anything to do with the Challenge Series itself. As Taniguchi puts himself into P6, he's now behind the debuting RCF driver. He is using all of the curbs. The 3 RCFs are pretty much breaking even at the moment. Actually, the whole top 5 really hasn't gone anywhere. As Taniguchi takes to the outside of Sasaki. The new guy's got to learn the hard way, according to Akira, and he is off into P5, looking at 4th. And he will easily overtake my dad following that masterful corner exit. Down the inside of Roth, looks like Taniguchi's going to move himself to 3rd with that. Roth backs out, so indeed. You head through the next 2 corners, gets ahead of Michael Krieger, And into second place, where Akira can finally take the fight to his brother, Hikari. The battle that somehow has never happened before, despite these two brothers having been in the Challenge Series for quite a while. The original sibling battle, well, other than, you know, Michiko. Well, we had Mika and Natasha Harris, it was the Taniguchi brothers, and he's doing the Shutoku thing, he's flashing the headlights, he wants to battle. He wants to battle his brother. I mean, no shit, obviously you've come to a racetrack to race the race. The good commentary. As they go too wide up the weird S things here at Octopolis. Hikari obviously knows this track pretty well. Akira maybe doesn't have the same knowledge there, but he seems to have the X factor in this race because he's just generally faster in this event. And I think his car is also a little better suited to this track, being lighter and more maneuverable. And he finds himself sort of obstructed by the R34 driver. And Hikari does a little blocking, does a little trolling on his brother. Oh, they make some fender contact. Akira a little unstable following it. I assume these two know each other's tendencies pretty well. They know how to rattle each other's cage without causing a major cataclysm. At least I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that's the case, and if not, then I guess they're just gonna fuck around and find out the hard way. Roth and Krieger not really getting any closer, so this battle between siblings will have all of the space it needs to pan out, more or less. Even though Krieger has begun to make quite a train for himself, but too wide into the hairpin, the two brothers, they make more door contact. That forces Taniguchi off, that forces Hikari offline. My dad is so out of whack back there. But, what the heck? Sasaki's not close enough to make him pay for it. More blocking by Hikari and some oversteer from Akira as he attempts to keep the car under him. Still nose to tail. He has a run into the final corner, but Hikari closes the door. That wasn't really the cleanest move. Some drifting from Akira. More drifting. Out of the final turn, Akira has the advantage though. Well, that really didn't sell the photo finish at all, that camera, did it? Holy shit. That is the photo finish to end all photo finishes right there. Let's actually just get that in full motion. Hopefully this time it actually shows the camera that, you know, helps. I think it will. Out of the final turn, Akira just got a godlike run, and right at the line, literally right at the line, Akira is gonna grab the victory from his brother here at Octopolis. That'll be an interesting family dinner tonight if they actually do that in the Taniguchi family. Michael Krieger keeps the train behind him to remain in third behind the brothers Grimm up here. And Sasaki, in his debut, basically holds station. He doesn't advance, but he doesn't go down either. Well, I mean, he goes down because of Kira, but nobody else. So, that was the spectacle for the eyes. The two brothers just throwing haymakers at each other to grab the win here, and we're only halfway through the episode. On to round 4 then. It's got a lot to live up to from that race, though. Race 4 is green as I almost yawned right at the start of the episode race. And we're once again going to test the earlier theory of Is the reverse layout safer than the forwards layout as we race a high-speed ring, this time in the 680 category, a little bit faster than the 640 category from last time out. One of these weeks we'll run a comprehensive test to see which layout is actually better. That'll require some willing test subjects that aren't scared of high-speed ring in its forward configuration, but a number of people seem to be scared of it in this configuration, since we have a full grid. So that's a decent sign, as we're on board with Dominic DePrisco, as he's already into 13th, almost into 12th through there, but Hanasong held firm. However, not for too long, Bakuntosh has some absolutely lethal acceleration. He just went around my outside like it wasn't moving in my GTO there. Holy shit! Also, there's your final, the other debuting driver of this episode, as I'm gonna have to check my notes here while the race continues in the background as to what his name was, because I embarrassingly managed to forget. Seita Uozumi. I knew obviously the last name was on the screen, but Seita. Not quite Seitin. Seita. He drives another Mitsubishi GTO to make that 4 in the series for that model, and Dominic DePrisco is already into 4th place. And he's gonna get 3rd on the Toyota Crown of Michiko Taniguchi. Gonna get 2nd around Kaiser there, effortlessly. 185 on corner exit, but because the corner is a widening radius turn now, that's not nearly as harrowing as it used to be with turn 1 before. And just like that, Dom DePrisco is the leader, and we're just past 2 laps in. Or just just started lap 3, we're not even close to halfway done, and Dom was like, alright, good talk, goodbye. Axel Valentine, who has reportedly been absolutely loving this Pantera to death, he's taking some unusual racing lines to try and find a way ahead of Schwartz. Apparently, Amy Elena Shaughnessy has a redesigned GTO as well. And, on the subject of the Mitsubishi GTO, there's another one for you. However, this is a top speed track, and the Mitsubishi GTO in this game, and just in general, not a top speed car. So our GTO debuting GTO and the other GTO and Nidori's GTO are looking not great. Also, the reason Shaughnessy has a new looking car is because she is now getting split by Traction Eye. She's getting split by the admin team. And now we're both trying to also take our positions ahead of Tenshi Hirata. Good lord! A little close to comfort. After successfully probed for weakness, apparently. Shaughnessy has just been recruited to Brian Ice's racing team, Pacific Spirit. I guess more or less to replace Natasha Harris, whom he kicked not too long ago, so... I would call it an improvement, but I think having a literal crash test dummy would be an improvement over her. Did I say that out loud? Whoops. Dominic is gone. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, this is absolutely pounded by Hana Song. Again, context. We have June Summers trying to keep Stephanie Kaiser at bay. Oh my god, she almost turned herself on the front of Stephanie's car. And that's her hint to not really be in the way. Axel Valentine also squeezes his nose into down the inside of Summers, and she makes way for the Pantera. Might regret that, although she did make yeses well enough to remain in third for now. But the sheer power of this Pantera, that might only be delaying the inevitable from the DB5. Axel asserts himself on the outside lane, and he will outdrag the Aston Martin and into third. Schwartz is sort of in this group too, but his TBR definitely lacks the straight line speed necessary to hang directly with them. That Pantera is moving. 197 to turn 1, not quite 200. I don't think anybody's doing that. Almost everybody's getting close to 190. Most people are getting over 180. If not literally everyone. Axel is just probing for any chance he might get to take second away at the last minute here. I mean, he might as well throw everything at it for P2. You certainly aren't catching the leader, not at this point. Frisco is in the next county right now. Or I guess, since this is Japan, it'd be the next prefecture by now. There was Stephanie's last real corner to try and keep this Pantera at bay, but I think now might be game over for the Porsche. Unless she issues some nasty blocks. But Dom DePrisco is going to take a runaway win at High Speed Ring. A drag race for P2 will be won by Stephanie Kaiser over Axel Valentine. And the roulette race of episode 60 is away. We head to Monza, which is definitely the best track for this sort of event. It's actually not as bad as you think, because the top speed difference and power differences between all these cars, it tends to sort itself out before we even reach the first corner. Not always, as we can see here, but it's usually pretty good at it. The crowd was very rampant during pre-race festivities, as they are in the presence of multiple home race drivers and the home team in full force here in this roulette round. Well, Zomi also joins us again, but no Sasaki, which kind of surprised me. Since we have Italian car with damage, Francesca Fidanzi with damage, driver for Scuderia Fidanzi, the owner of Fidanzi, and, well, one of like the most popular drivers in all of Italy, Francesco Fidanzi. An Italian driver, and an Italian driver in the form of Fernando Fidanzi. So the Italians are definitely here in force, and the Italian adjacent, like Eric. And yet Wayne Hansen, who is driving an Italian car, currently leads, but he's got damage, so that might not last. It was not a popular occurrence when he ran haplessly into the back of Francesca on F1, as he's one of the hometown heroes, and Wayne Hansen just haphazardly bopped her in the back the second that they got to the first corner. If I can actually show, I don't know why I'm not doing that. He started 16th, but due to having all-wheel drive and the most horsepower on the grid, he was able to do this. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Too wide with Francisco and gets into P2 as relatively normal as can do. There's a huge run on Francesca here, doesn't quite take it. Misses a shift and smacks right into the back of her. So his stupidity has gifted Eric Wojciechowski the lead. Francisco is P2, and our POV driver is Mika Harris, and she started last. With Hansen out of the race, or at least out of first place contention, Dom DeFrisco kinda becomes the odds-on favorite. On track, no Wayne Hansen for him to contest because we don't know how those two get along. Somehow briefly struggled to get around Tyler in a car 2 classes above him. Nearly puts it in the sand trap in the process. I don't know how he managed that. Obviously, Wojciechowski is going to be his main, if not only, competition here. Natasha Harris is now also trying to force her way ahead of McIntosh. Squeezes him just about off the circuit to make her way into P5. All things considered, Hansen didn't lose a ton of time. It was more Francesca that took the fall, but even she is technically about to be behind him on the leaderboard here. Harris with a huge run on Francisco Fedonzi will take the place into turn 1. Dom DeFrisco, also the huge run on both of them, will also get him. Doesn't get Mika though. Probably shouldn't be all that surprised that he didn't. On a corner exit, he's going to have a huge acceleration advantage and everything else. And Mika actually just kind of pulls aside and lets her teammate through. I guess Pacific Spirit is one of the teams that does do team orders, or at the very least Mika does. Even if, or you know, independent of what Brian Ice's vision for the team is. But Dom DeFrisco has absolutely failed the second chicane. Is there something wrong with the car? It looks like there might be because he just absolutely botched the Lesmos. That puts Mika back in second place. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with him there, that he couldn't keep that 720 class behind him. Based on the way his car was turning just there, it seems like it might be a suspension problem. You'll just have to hope that the suspension, if that is the problem, or whatever the problem may be, doesn't become terminal anywhere within the next 3 or so laps. The UI is not showing damage on Dom's car, so I'm just kind of lost as Wayne Hansen overtakes Natasha Harris. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's great teamwork there. Yeah, so Wayne Hansen and Natasha Harris have actually teamed up to form a new team. Yes, that is implied by the words teaming up me. They have now formed Megalith Motors. The two of them have. I can only assume this is some sort of response to Pacific Spirit just in general, but more specifically the fact that they just signed Shaughnessy, and Natasha just got kicked off of PSR not too long ago. She's like, okay, fine, I'll just make my own team, just to spite you, and she's just now started Megalith Motors. There's another reason for Pacific Spirit to watch out, because now their two biggest enemies are on the same team. They've sort of accepted their, or they've embraced their common enemy, you know, PSR. They're now on the same team. However, knowing the two drivers involved on the team, I don't think their synergy or cohesion is really going to be that amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if they probably trip over one another once or twice along the way. Wouldn't surprise me at all, considering this is Wayne Hansen and Natasha Harris we're talking about. Natasha's a good driver, but she's an aggressive one. Wayne Hansen is just not a great driver all around. It's a wonder that Briscoe ever has a problem defeating him in any given race. And the only thing that Hansen's got going for him is he's got the money to get into the series, and buy into it basically. And he's got a lethal machine in the form of the Murcielago. Speaking of machine, big oversteer from Eric Wojciechowski as he's attempting to keep Mika Harris at bay. Again, these are not even in the same category, and yet Mika Harris is still going to try and go for overall against the car a category above her. Again, certainly not the first time we'll see that if she can pull it off. But of all the tracks to be able to defeat somebody in a higher category than you, this is like probably one of the toughest to do that, because we have four basically, pretty long straightaways. The run up to the second chicane isn't literally straight, but it's still flat out, and it's still basically a test of your car's horsepower and top speed capability. Obviously the GT350R, it's by no means going to be a slouch in a straight line, as we're seeing it hit 180 with ease here. But she's going to be contending with a Ferrari F12. You know, a car in the top division, and one of the better cars in that division for good measure. So Harris, or Mika Harris, is going to have her work cut out. Thankfully for everybody's safety, DePrisco and Hansen are at least a handful of turns apart. We shouldn't have to worry about that. We all know what happens whenever those two get within 100 feet of each other. There's usually some scratched paintwork, to say the least, because we are now getting some lap traffic in the race. On the front stretch, pretty easy to handle. Just go in the lane they're not in. But as we get to corners, it's not so simple, as Mika Harris tries to sneak in down the inside of Eric, using the lap traffic as sort of, you know, an opportunity to try and sneak her car there. It didn't work. They both have to barely squeeze their way ahead of Fujikawa heading to Curva Grande as we begin what will be the final lap of Monza. The back of Santrizos, who forces Eric off the track. The game is to reset him. That is not what the hell I wanted. This is the wrong lap. As we're heading up to the second chicane, Santrizos is there. I mean, Diego didn't really do anything there. I think my best estimation as to what happened is Eric just maybe got thrown off his line or off his braking point by spotting Santrizos up ahead. And as he tried to look ahead to see where he was going to put his car, he missed his braking marker. And, well, the game doesn't like when cars are over there, so the game treats him to a reset. He gets smacked into the backup by Sayori for good measure, who's not expecting a Ferrari to suddenly appear in front of her. Mika Harris, who was not thrown off by the existence of a Diego, yes, manages to make the corner just fine. And she will take the lead from possibly some of the most bizarre circumstances, period. Wojciechowski, I mean, he sold the race for himself. He just simply needed to not miss that braking point. And he has the straight line advantage over the Mustang, but instead now he's struggling to overtake Stephanie as a lapped car 3 categories below him. He nearly wrecks the car, gets in Stephanie's way. She's not gonna like that, because that's damaged her Porsche. Beep, 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 beep. And through this chaotic, controversial finish, Mika Harris heads out of Parabolica, and the Italian fans here at Monza will go home not happy as Mika Harris wins the race. Wojciechowski second, and the Italian countryman of Dom DePrisco will find some traffic, but manage to steal third, beating Hansen, which I'm sure that's all Dom cared about, to be honest. It's not a class victory, but he beat Wayne Hansen. He beat both members of Megalith Motors. As, you know, did Mika Harris, who won the race. So, today is definitely a victory for Pacific Spirit Racing. Just not a victory for the country of Italy, who basically got to watch every single one of their drivers not do much. I mean, Francisco's going to get second in class, but Francesca got rocked. And scrolling down the list, the finishing order is just all out of place. Tyler McIntosh has managed to beat my mom, who is, he's a category under her in the 680 class car versus her 720. Nico Mizzoto beats a 680 car in the form of Seita Uozomi. And I believe the only category that Italy really has to celebrate is the 640 class. 1-2 for Italian representatives there, with Mizzoto leading Fernando Ferdinand home. And then there are no more Italians or Italian adjacent drivers, but that'll do it That'll do it here for episode 60 in the Challenge Series. Making sure I haven't missed anything. I have not. So, yeah, I mean, goodbye, I guess.